Sometimes love doesn't arrive the way you expected. Not through perfect timing, not through someone your age, not through the person you imagined in your head. Sometimes it comes from someone younger than you, someone who watches you quietly, someone who notices small things about you that nobody else sees, someone who feels deeply connected to your energy but hides it behind nervous smiles, random conversations, or subtle attention. And honestly, you may already know who this person is, because deep down, human emotions are difficult to hide forever. The strange thing about attraction is that age doesn't always control emotional connection. Psychology has shown again and again that people are naturally drawn toward emotional safety, maturity, calmness, confidence, and understanding. And many younger people secretly become emotionally attached to someone older because they feel protected, emotionally understood, and mentally stimulated around them. But most of the time, they never confess immediately. They observe first. They overthink. They become nervous around you. And then one day, the emotions become impossible to hide. So in this video, we're going deep into the psychology behind why someone younger than you may secretly be falling in love with you right now, and the signs that a confession may be closer than you think. Before we begin, subscribe to Psychology on Love, where we uncover the hidden psychology of attraction, emotional attachment, relationships, and human behavior. And stay until the end, because the final sign is usually the moment their feelings become impossible to control. One of the biggest reasons younger people become emotionally attached to someone older is emotional stability. Most people their age are still trying to impress everyone, still chasing attention, still playing emotional games, still confused about what they actually want. But then they meet someone who feels different, someone calm, someone emotionally grounded, someone who listens instead of competing, and suddenly, attraction becomes deeper than physical appearance. Psychologically, humans crave emotional safety more than they admit, and mature energy often feels emotionally comforting to younger people who are exhausted by immature relationships. That's why they slowly start noticing you more. Your voice feels calming. Your presence feels peaceful. Your advice feels meaningful. Even simple conversations start affecting them emotionally longer than they should. And here's the dangerous part. The younger person often tries to fight these feelings at first, because emotionally, it confuses them too. They tell themselves, maybe I'm just admiring them. Maybe I'm overthinking. Maybe this is temporary. But emotions don't disappear just because someone tries to ignore them. In fact, suppressed attraction often becomes stronger. That's why younger people who secretly like you often become unusually attentive toward you. They remember small details. They notice changes in your mood. They react emotionally when you ignore them. And they become strangely happy when you give them attention. Not because they're obsessed, but because emotionally, your validation starts meaning more to them than they expected. Another powerful psychological sign is nervous energy around you. Now this depends on personality. Some people become quieter around someone they like. Others become overly talkative. Others tease constantly to hide attraction. But one thing usually remains the same. Their emotional behavior changes around you specifically. You may notice them fixing their appearance before talking to you. You may catch them staring for a second too long. Sometimes they suddenly become awkward for no reason. Other times they try too hard to sound confident around you. And psychologically, this happens because attraction creates self-awareness. The moment emotions become real, people start caring deeply about how you perceive them. Even confident individuals become nervous around someone emotionally important. And here's something most people ignore. Younger people often hide love through curiosity. They ask random questions. They want to know your opinions, your habits, your past, your favorite things. Not because the information itself matters, but because emotionally attached people become fascinated by the person they love. Your existence becomes emotionally interesting to them. That's why conversations with them feel unusually personal sometimes. They're not just talking. They're studying you emotionally. Another major sign is emotional jealousy, even when they try to hide it. When you mention another person, their energy changes slightly. Maybe they become quieter. Maybe they joke about it. Maybe they suddenly lose enthusiasm. Maybe they pretend not to care while secretly overthinking everything later. Psychologically, jealousy often appears when emotional attachment begins competing with fear of losing someone. And younger people especially struggle hiding this because their emotions tend to be more reactive and intense. The confusing part is, they may not even fully understand their own feelings yet. They just know something about you affects them emotionally stronger than it should. And honestly, this emotional confusion is what makes younger attraction feel so intense sometimes. Everything feels bigger, stronger, more emotional, because they are still learning how to process deep attachment. One thing many people don't realize is that younger individuals often idealize the person they love emotionally. Not in a fake way, but psychologically, they start associating you with comfort, wisdom, emotional maturity, and stability. You become different from everyone else in their mind. And this creates emotional attachment rapidly. That's why they may suddenly start seeking your attention more frequently. Random texts, unnecessary conversations, excuses to be around you, sharing things that remind them of you, trying to make you laugh, trying to impress you subtly. These behaviors usually happen before confession, because emotionally attached people naturally move closer to what they desire emotionally. And the closer they get, the harder it becomes to hide their feelings. Now here's where things become psychologically intense. Many younger people secretly fear rejection more deeply when liking someone older. Why? Because they assume you may not take them seriously. They worry you'll see them as immature. They fear embarrassing themselves emotionally. So instead of confessing directly, they begin dropping emotional hints. Long eye contact, unexpected compliments, emotional vulnerability, late night conversations, subtle flirting hidden inside jokes, and sometimes silence. Because people in love often reveal emotions through pauses more than words. The truth is, when someone younger genuinely falls for you emotionally, it rarely feels shallow to them. People love to assume younger attraction is temporary or impulsive. But psychology says emotional attachment is built through emotional experience, not simply age. If you make someone feel emotionally understood, emotionally safe, emotionally valued, and emotionally calm, attachment naturally forms. And sometimes that attachment becomes impossible for them to control anymore. That's when confession energy begins. You start feeling it. The tension changes. Their eyes say more than their words. Their attention becomes more focused. And suddenly, ordinary interactions feel emotionally charged for no clear reason. Because emotionally, they're already halfway in love. And here's something important. A younger person preparing to confess often becomes emotionally inconsistent first. One day, they're confident around you. The next day, they avoid eye contact. One moment, they act close. The next moment, they become distant. This emotional push and pull happens because their brain is fighting vulnerability. Part of them wants to confess. Another part fears ruining the connection completely. So they keep testing emotional safety. They watch how you react to them. They analyze your tone. They search for signs that maybe, just maybe, you feel something too. And honestly, humans become extremely observant when emotions are involved. Especially younger people experiencing deep attachment. They notice changes in your mood instantly. They remember conversations you forgot. They replay interactions privately in their mind. Because emotionally attached people don't experience connection casually. Everything starts feeling emotionally meaningful. And eventually, the feelings become too heavy to hide. That's the moment most confessions happen. Not because they planned perfectly, but because emotionally, silence became harder than honesty. Maybe it happens suddenly during a vulnerable conversation. Maybe through a late night message. Maybe through nervous laughter and indirect words. Or maybe through one simple sentence they rehearsed 100 times in their head. I think I like you. And what makes this psychologically powerful is that younger people usually don't confess unless the emotions became truly overwhelming. Because the fear of rejection is already massive. So if they finally admit their feelings, chances are they've been carrying those emotions quietly for a long time. The human heart is strange. It doesn't always follow logic. Sometimes the people who understand us best arrive unexpectedly. Sometimes emotional connection ignores age completely. And sometimes the person secretly loving you has been trying to hide it for months while hoping you notice first. That's why emotional awareness matters. Because attraction is rarely random. Energy speaks before words do. Attention reveals emotions. Consistency reveals attachment. And emotional nervousness often reveals hidden love better than confidence ever could. So if someone younger suddenly acts different around you, if their attention feels unusually personal, if their energy changes when you're close, if they seem emotionally affected by your presence, don't ignore it too quickly. You may be witnessing the psychology of hidden love unfolding in real time. And maybe very soon, they won't be able to hide it anymore. Subscribe to Psychology on Love for more deep psychological insights into attraction, emotional connection, relationships, and the hidden truths about human behavior. And comment below. Do you think age matters more or emotional connection?